Hello everyone, I'm here in a pre-generated village that I modified slightly. This is where if I'm showing this world off in-game, from the default spawn I've got a rail that comes here to this little train station, this little walled village. This was a pre-generated village, I just added a few little touches here and there and cleaned it up. But the important part is this direction. As I said, if you were coming in-game, you would spawn at the default spawn and the rail would bring you to that village. And then you would come to this bridge. Come across the bridge to the exterior of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, as seen in the Gene Wilder version of the movie. And I took great pains to make it as close as possible to exactly how everything appeared in the movie, within reason, given the limitations of Minecraft, which are not many, but of course, other than you have to stick to 90-degree angles for the most part. And that's my approximation of the word Wonka, spelled with items over the entryway. Earlier in the movie, Charlie had walked by the front of the factory and he looked through the iron-barred window at some of the factory. But once all the golden tickets had been given out, all the kids showed up and they opened the gate and there was a red carpet that Wonka walked out, there's a little fake fall, and they went right into the door, which would be right here. Very quickly, just so everyone can kind of see it, I will walk back through the exterior part of the factory a little bit. You can see the other buildings. The smokestack that has Wonka's name on it coming out of the top of one of them. This thing that I don't know what it's supposed to be, but there was something that looked more or less like that in the background in the movie, so that's why it's there. All these other buildings with the garage and everything, and there were trees all around it, and animals for some reason spawn right where the only grass is right there, but whatever. But at any rate, in the movie, they come up and go in through the front door here to take the chocolate factory tour that they had won. This hallway's not in the movie, but they went through a hallway of some kind that isn't shown, so I just improvised. They come into a room, and the first thing Wonka has everyone hang their hats and coats up on the wall. In the movie, there were looked like human hands sticking out of the wall that when they put their things up, they would close and grab their clothes, so that's my approximation of that. Then before anyone could take the tour, they all had to sign a contract, which started out with huge letters, got teeny little tiny by the time it got down to the bottom. You had to grab the feather pen, dip it in the inkwell, sign their name before anyone could take the tour of the factory. So then once everyone had signed, Wonka directed everybody back of the room. They went through a door. We had a bunch of weird black and white scribbly things all over the wall. It's like everyone all the way to the back, all the way to the back. Everyone's sort of shoulder to shoulder, pushing and shoving. There's not room. It's like we can't find the door we're supposed to take. And Wonka said, I'm sure it's here somewhere, and works the way back around and comes back to apparently the same door they came in. One of the parents says, what are you talking about? That's how we came in. He says, are you sure? And then, of course, he opens the door, and it's somewhere completely different. Now, in the movie, that when he walks in this hallway, it seems to shrink down really small. I considered trying to do that with pistons or something, but it was going to be way too complicated and make it too difficult for connect the rest of the room and stuff. So I decided it would be better to just have it as a regular hallway. So that's the one thing from the movie that I did not really build in. But when they get to the next door, Wonka says, this is a musical lock, and he flips open a little piano keyboard and plays a tune. That tune in the movie, obviously, but this is a video game, so that's what I used. Door opens up, and they go out into the chocolate room, or it's how it's usually called. I've always thought of it as the edible room, because Wonka tells them almost everything in here is edible. And he sings the Pure Imagination song while the kids and their parents run around and eat things. Cake off the floor of it. Chocolate chip cookies here. watermelon. There were mushrooms that you could eat the cream out of the white dots. And all that sort of stuff. So these are Swedish fish. It's a candy you may or may not be familiar with. So anyway, once everyone's eaten a bunch of chocolate and enjoyed themselves, they kind of look across. Someone comments on the polluted water, and Wonka tells them, no, that's chocolate. Now, I didn't want to do just water because it's supposed to be chocolate. I didn't want to do just brown wool because that doesn't look like a fluid. So I sort of, this was my compromise, and had the chocolate waterfall. And then they see the Oompa Loompas across the river come out of walkway, and they go up and they set a chute up and dump some sugar or something into the excuse me, into the chocolate river. And then of course Augustus Gloop, the fat kid, tries to start drinking the chocolate river. Wonka yells at him. He ends up falling in and then gets sucked up a pipe into some other part of the factory. They send his parents to go try and retrieve him. And the rest of the group then gets on the boat, which in the movie came out of the tunnel and then pulled up in front of them. They get to the rest of the factory. So when they take the boat ride, they take off and everyone's a little creeped out by the dark, creepy tunnel. And there's all kinds of crazy lights going by, and everyone's getting scared, and then there's all sorts of crazy, scary pictures start showing up on the walls. More tunnels, Wonka's singing a creepy song. More crazy pictures, and then they go into the dark, and someone says, "That's enough, Wonka." He says, "Quite right, sir. Stop the boat. We've arrived." And they're suddenly in a brightly lit room. There's another tunnel leaving, but they all get out. And now this is a admittedly somewhat lame joke, but it's from the movie. Dairy cream, whipped cream, coffee cream, hair cream. What? Anyway. So that's the inventing room next. Wonka speaks some German for some reason, and then he opens the door and everyone goes in. And the inventing room was mostly just junk piled everywhere. You couldn't tell what was going on. There were some beakers and things, lots of different colored pipes going up into the ceiling for some reason. And there was a pink thing in there that shot smoke out of different stacks and had different tones. So I made something like that. Cauldrons everywhere. Someone tries to look under a sheet of a machine that's all covered with all these multicolored sheets, and it makes a noise. Wonka says, "No one must look under there. It's my most secret invention." I'd like to see what it does, and he turns it on. Everything starts going in and out, popping up and down, and everlasting gobstoppers popping out of the front. He turns the machine off, and then he agrees to give the kids all an everlasting gobstopper, provided they promise not to ever show it to anyone else. Wonka turns it on. Goes down, mashing, back and forth, around. There's like a whole lot of stuff that's going on. And then finish. Out of the front pops a piece of gum, which the gum chewing girl grabs, and Wonka tells her she shouldn't chew it, but of course she does anyway. It tastes like a 4-course meal, but when it gets to the dessert of blueberry pie, she blows up into a giant blueberry. The Oompa Loompas show up, sing a song, roll her out. The tour moves on. Through a door, they go past the colorful door, turn a corner in the hallway, and Wonka says, "Oh, I have to show you this. Lickable wallpaper for nurseries. The apples taste like apples. The watermelons taste like watermelons. The snozberries taste like snozberries." And they lick the wall a bit, and everyone moves on. And the next room was fizzy lifting drinks, where it was filled with bubbles everywhere, and there's some sort of weird machine, lots of bottles all along all the walls. And Wonka said they were too powerful, or not powerful enough, I forget which. And it says they shouldn't drink them and they move on, but Charlie and Grandpa Joe decide to sneak one. They have a sip, and then when they do, they start to float up, and they're having a good time until they realize they're about to float up into the fan and get chopped to bits, and then they figure out if they burp, it'll let them back down. And they're back on the ground level. They said, all right, that's enough of that. Let's catch up to the rest of the group. Go down the hall around the corner through the golden egg-shaped door into the room with the geese that lay the golden eggs. There are Oompa Loompas around, gathering them up, shining them up and boxing them up on the tables, putting them in boxes to be shipped for Easter. Someone says, but Easter's over. He says, shh, don't tell them that. I'm trying to get ahead for next year. The golden eggs. As you may remember, they dropped down through a chute, landed on a testing bed, and if they were a bad egg, they got dropped into the furnace. If they were a good egg, the Oompa Loompas picked them up and shipped them out. And the bratty girl sings a song, runs around, jumps on the thing, and it says bad egg, drops her into the furnace. Wonka says something like, well, it's only lit every other day, so she's got a good chance. So they move on. On the top, up here, the family, almost forgot, gets into the seats here, takes a ride, and it starts spraying foam out everywhere. Everyone's getting all filthy, and they go through the Wonka wash, which takes oddly too long for some reason, and then they pop out back on the other side, having gone, in the movie it appears to be about 50 feet. And they get out, and the next room labeled as dangerous, so everyone's supposed to get some protective clothing. Like so. And they go into the Wonka Vision room, and there's a huge camera. Oompa Loompas are wandering around, working the controls. They put a giant chocolate bar down underneath the camera. It takes a picture, it disappears, and then reappears on the other end of the room in a TV, and you're actually able to grab the chocolate bar out of the TV and eat it. And of course, the TV kid wants to be the first one sent, so he jumps up in there, gets sent across the room, comes out 6 inches tall. And then the Oompa Loompas take him to the taffy stretching room to be restored. So they leave the room. Wonka has everyone take the protective clothing off and hang it up. I'll just take it off. Won't take the time to stick it on the wall. And as they're leaving, Wonka says, well, there's the exit. I'm sure you can find your own way out, and heads into his office. And his office has all of these things written on the wall next to it. Actually, on the door in the movie. Although I added head builder since this is Minecraft. And then Grandpa Joe says, well, what about the chocolate? So he decides to talk to Wonka, and he goes in, and everything in the office is only half there for some reason. It's like half a table, half a chair, half a desk, half a coat rack, half of a safe. The pictures were halved also in the movie, but I couldn't think of a way to do that in Minecraft, so they're just pictures for my version. And then Wonka yells at him. They start to leave, and Charlie gives him his gobstopper back before he leaves. So that proves to Wonka that he is the right kid, and says, you've won. Let's take the great glass elevator out of here, and they get on the elevator and close the doors behind them, and it shoots up and through the roof in the movie. here's my approximation of the crazy elevator ride, during which Wonka tells Charlie he's going to give him the factory, and the movie ends with them flying over the town in the elevator. However, for mine, I actually have it in at the end of the elevator ride. You come out and you're back in the village where you started. So that is my recreation of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory from the 1971 Gene Wilder movie. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.